When I got there was no terminal at Yokota Base. There was a little building built on the far side of the runway called the Casualty Staging Facility. And it was just a sort of an anonymous little blonde brick building. And it was a place where soldiers who had been injured in Vietnam were brought after they'd been stabilized in the MASH units. They were pretty sick, badly injured, but they were able to travel. But for a night and a day, they would rest at the Casualty Staging Facility. And then after that, they would be flown out on C-141s or C-5s, and they would be flown back to the States. I think about those huge airplanes, because the C-5 is gigantic, and they would be full of wounded on stretchers. And there would be we would see these planes parked at the end of the runway, ready to take off. And there would always be a fire truck with the ones that had the wounded on board. And we would know, and we would see them every day, or every couple of days. All these airplanes full of wounded men flying back to the States. Red Cross volunteers from the base, and a lot of military wives were Red Cross volunteers, were invited to come and greet them. We were kind of symbolic of what they'd been fighting for. We were mom and apple pie. We would come in and we would kind of walk through the wards, and we would have the cookies, and we would passing out cookies. We played paper and pencil games, we worked crossword puzzles. We chatted, and you had to be able to be cheerful and friendly and not get upset. And I was able to be that way. And so for 2 years, I went to the Casualty Staging Facility once a week and visited with the guys who had just arrived. There's a military term called being short. You're a short timer. Now, being short means maybe you're short, you're going to get a promotion in rank, or you're short, you're going to get sent to another base, or you're short, you're about to get out of the service, or you're short for one way or another. So I was standing with a young woman who happened to be the base commander's daughter, and we were chatting with this young man. This young man, I can still visualize him. He was in a bed in a different area, and he was sitting there kind of holding court almost. He had dark hair and I think dark eyes, and he was chatting away, and he was a comedian, a natural comedian. And we were laughing and having a good time. And he looked at us and he said, "You know what, we're all short." And he looked at her and he said, "You're about to get married and you're about to go home, and I just lost both my legs." And we laughed. And it was funny. I never cried. I never cried. But I cry now. They were American guys who were far from home, and in their cases, they'd been hurt and needed some comfort. I think that it made a place in my soul someplace down deep, because I could never think of the soldiers as bad people. Some of them did bad things, but bad things happened to them too. When I saw the dedication of the Women's Memorial at the Vietnam Wall, I thought maybe there's a little piece of that for me and those other women with me that went and visited the Casualty Staging Facility. And now every time I tell the story, I cry. But I didn't cry then. It would have been wrong to cry in front of them.
These personal Vietnam War stories are made possible by these sponsors.